I'm Meg. I am a bookbinder. I've been doing workshops at the River Arts Center in Lawrenceville for the last few years, and today I'm going to show you how easy and fun bookbinding can be. We are going to be focusing on two different types of books. We're going to be doing a pamphlet style book, which is a really easy sewing technique, and we're also going to be doing an accordion style book, which gives you lots of room. For this project, you're going to need cardstock or cardboard. It could be a used cereal box, it could be some just decorative paper, or you can decorate it however you'd like. You're going to need some embroidery floss. You're going to need some scissors or a cutting knife and a cutting board so you don't ruin your table. And you're going to need something to fold it with. Now, some projects, you don't really need this, but I'm going to be using a bone folder, which is for nice crisp lines. And I'm going to be using an awl, which is this little contraption for poking my holes, but you can use the needle you're going to be using for sewing. To start, we're going to start with our paper. So I want you to grab some paper. It can just be some paper out of the printer, and you're going to cut it down to the height you want your book. And once you have that, you can fold it. So I'm going to do one sheet at a time, so I have nice crisp lines. Now I'm starting with about 6 pages, so I just want a small book. Then you're going to take those folded pieces and you're going to put one inside the other. And there you go. This is called a signature. Most books you're used to probably has multiple signatures, but we're just going to start with one. There are other names. Some people call it a chorus. I like to call it a signature because that's what I learned. And as you can see here, you might notice some pages sneaking out. That's called creep. You can trim that off if you want to, or you can leave it if you want a very clean edge or not. Next, I want you to take whatever cover paper you're going to be using. So cut your cover so that it's the same size, but I did leave just a little bit of space so that you don't see the inside pages when it's all closed up. Our next step is going to be making holes into the fold line in order to sew the book together. We're going to use 5 holes in order to make our pamphlet stitch. I'm going to be taking my awl, or you can take your needle that you're using, and I'm going to start right in the middle, right here. I'm just going to poke the hole through. If you're not comfortable with a needle and you don't want to stab, you can take your scissors and you can just cut a very tiny eyelet hole, just corner and corner. Alright, so next, since we want 5 holes, I'm going to do 2 more on this side, evenly spaced, and then 2 more on this side. You can measure or you can just eyeball it, which is what I'm doing. So about 1 inch apart here. And there we go, it's all ready for sewing. Next, you're going to be grabbing your needle. You don't need anything too sharp for this. That's why we poked our holes before. So this is just a very pretty thick needle that's going to fit through the holes. You're going to grab your thread, and for a book this size, you want enough thread that you don't have to keep adding, but you don't want too much thread that it gets all tangled and then you have to cut it out and start over. So start with about an arm's length of thread. That should be pretty manageable. Now if you're using embroidery thread, sometimes what we do in the bookbinding world, we'll take some wax and we'll wax our thread to make it nice and smooth. For a book this size, you should be okay, but if you have some beeswax, you can just run the beeswax around your thread a couple times and then it'll make it really easy to sew. Alright, so we're going to start through the back, through the middle hole, in through our signature right here. We're going to leave a little bit of thread left because we're going to tie at the very end right here. So you want enough that you can tie a knot easily. Alright, and we're going to go through our next hole. I'm going to the right first, and then back in here. Right, and then back through this hole, and we're going to be skipping the middle hole and going in this next one over here. Right, and then through the last hole and back up, and then we're going to end going through the middle hole again so that our thread is sitting on either side of this piece of thread. And you can pull it tight. If you have some slack, you can fix that right now. And then I'm just going to be tying a knot. I'm going to tie a square knot, which is just a regular knot this way. And then you switch direction. So it's just a double knot. So if you can just do a double knot, that's fine. And then just cut off the excess. You can tie it in a bow if you'd like, or just snip it off right there. And that is the pamphlet stitch book. Just like that.